Hey everybody, it's Dustin Meyer, and sorry that it's taken a while for me to post new videos, but yesterday I had posted I took a new headshot of myself, and since I've still got the same setup as far as lighting goes in my studio, I figured, why don't I just share with you guys the lighting setup that I used, and also if we have time, I'll show you what I did to that image in Lightroom and also in Portrait Pro and then in Photoshop. And what I might do is break it up into several different videos so that this video isn't super long, because my videos tend to be kind of long because I talk too much. Anyways, so I'm going to, well, first of all, I can't show you the camera that I'm using right now, which is the one that I use in the studio. It is the Nikon D810, and on top of it, I've got the Phottix Strato wireless trigger or radio trigger, and then I'm also using the Strato receivers. And so bear with me, and I'm going to show you guys what I've got. Oh, anyways, before I get ahead of myself, so if you notice behind me, I've just got a plain white backdrop. I think it's like 10 feet or something like that. It's pure white. It's non-reflective. It's just a big paper roll. The reason why I like using paper rolls instead of like a muslin background or whatever is because, one, whenever I used to wash muslin backgrounds and then dried them and everything, they'd always come out super wrinkled no matter what setting I put them on because they're huge. And I was just tired of trying to fix that in post. So I went with the paper. The nice thing about the paper is that they come in pretty big rolls, and whenever part of the paper just gets dirty, you can just cut it off, trim it off, and that way you still have like a really clean white background. I prefer to actually have the paper not only go all the way down to the floor, but continue on to right about, maybe about 5 more feet or so, just in case I want to have somebody a little bit further back to have a seamless backdrop. So anyways, okay, now let's jump into the actual lighting setup that I'm using. Okay, so this first setup that I am using here, or that I want to show you guys, this is a Westcott 7-foot parabolic. It's not the real deep ones, it's the one that's a bit more normal as far as the curvature goes in the back. But the reason why, oh yeah, and it's got like a silver sheen on the inside. I know they have different ones, like there's a pure white one, which I do have one of those too. It's smaller, and the nice thing is that it's reversible. You can take the black cover off of it and you can shoot through it and stuff. But for this one, I feel like it just creates a really big wraparound light, especially if you get it closer to your subject. But as far as my, and I usually try to raise it as high as I can. I don't know if you can see this, but it's pretty much touching the ceiling, so I couldn't put it any higher. But I try to at least have it as high as the subject's face, which for me, I'm 5'8", so this is about 5'8" as far as height goes. Now my light sources are 2 Nikon SB910s. I've had them for a long time. I really like them. However, I know some of the newer versions of the Nikon flashes have built-in radio communications, which is great. I'd love to check those out, upgrade to them possibly. But for now, I've still got these guys. They're really trustworthy. And as you can see, I'm also using the Strato receivers here. What I did as far as settings go, I typically shoot my flashes, I set them to manual mode because, especially in the studio, I want to have more control over how much light that hits my subject. And the really cool thing about using the Strato receiver and transmitter is it will still use the TTL metering, and however, it will still trigger the flashes as manual. But the really cool thing is that depending on the zoom head, how you adjust the zoom and the flash head, and also, I've got these set to 1/4. So basically what that's telling me right now is that the flash will bounce for about 2.5 feet. The other reason why it's such a short distance is because Well, let's see right now. It says the ISO is set to 64, which is what I used yesterday. But the metal reflection really intensifies that light. And I've also got those little wide angle adapters pulled out on the front. Like I said, I don't know if you can see this, but I've got these little guys pulled out here. So yeah, currently right now I've got them set to 1/4 power. And with the ISO being at 64, technically it says that the distance for these flashes is going to be 2.1 feet. But I'm going to show you guys the picture that I took yesterday, and you can see for yourself that it's actually a lot brighter. I may have adjusted it just a little bit in Lightroom, but not by much, because I usually meter in camera. So the other thing that I use as a backlight is a Westcott Rapid Box, and I'm going to show that to you next. Okay, so as you can see back behind me here, I've got the Westcott Rapid Box. Honestly, I don't know what the dimensions are as far as the, well, anyways, so it may actually say on the back here. No, it just says Rapid Box Octa. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check and see what the settings were. I think I had it at, so this one was at manual mode at 1/2, and it says the distance is 2.5 feet, so I think, you know what, maybe it's saying that because the video I'm shooting is at f10, so that makes a lot more sense why the distances are so short. But anyways, so I use that as kind of a hair light, and also, whoops, let me get back over here. I use that kind of to fill the shadows on the sides just a little bit, but mostly as kind of a backlight as well, just to kind of help, you know, create that dimension so it doesn't look like I'm just disappearing into the background. But yeah, so knowing myself, now that I'm thinking about it, because right now I'm shooting at f10 on this video, the chances are the reason why the distance on the flashes, on the TTL flashes, say that it's only 2.5 feet is probably because the ISO was at 64, f60 or ISO 64, and the aperture is f10, which is what I'm shooting at right now. So, anyways, I know I'm a little confused, and I don't mean to confuse you guys, but we'll look at it once we get into Lightroom, and I'll be able to explain it better. But just so you know, you may have noticed that on the back, again, I've got the receiver here, and again, this is a TTL flash. Now, some of you guys, whether you know it's Canon or Nikon or whatever, if you know, if you have one of those where it comes with that little plastic cover for the flash head to kind of soften the light, I actually have one on that flash head because I learned a tip from another photographer to use that with the Octabox. The Octabox does come with a metal dish that screws into the inside to make it look more, you know, turn it into a beauty dish. But I looked at the comparisons between the different types of light patterns that hit the front of the Softbox here, and the one that looks the most even is when you don't use the dish inside the Rapid Box and you use one of those plastic little covers, you know, the white, slightly opaque covers that fit on the front of your flash head. So just a quick tip there if you want to make sure that you've got really good even lighting. So anyways, that's the setup that I used in the studio, and like I said, we'll have to go back and once we go into the next chapter, go into Lightroom, look at the picture that I took of myself yesterday to look at the settings, and that way I'll be able to know, I'll be able to show you guys what I shot it at, and also knowing me, I always make sure that the flash reads on the back that it's the proper distance between, you know, the flash and the subject. So anyways, forget what I said earlier about 2.5 feet, 2.1 feet. I'm rambling now, but okay, so next step. In the next video, we're going to look at the picture that I took in Lightroom. We're going to go over the settings just to make sure that I actually know what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to show you guys some steps as far as what I do in Lightroom first, then what I do when I export it into Portrait Pro, And then once I'm done with it in Portrait Pro, if there's any additional adjustments that need to be done, like say in Photoshop, then we'll go into Photoshop too, and I'll just show you some of the things that I did for that as well. So, all right, thank you guys so much for watching. Keep an eye out for the next video, and we'll just kind of walk through it. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see upcoming videos, and also there's that little bell icon. Make sure to hit that bell if you want to be notified when the new videos roll out. If you have questions, which I'm sure a lot of you guys might have questions, because I always get questions on my retouching videos that refer back to how I shot it, so that's kind of why I'm doing this video. Anyways, if you have questions, put them in the comment box below, and I will do my best to answer everything. For those of you guys that kind of get the idea of what I'm talking about today, also feel free to jump in and kind of, you know, add your own insight as far as what you do in the studio as well, because I'd love to hear what you guys do. I don't want you guys to feel like what I'm doing in here is the best way to do it, or that it's the only way to do it. It's just how I do it. It's just, you know, it's better for me. My shooting room is not that huge, so I don't use monolights because I don't want a bunch of cords everywhere. Plus, sometimes I'll take this guy outside to use for outdoor portraits, and needing something that's more battery powered is a lot more helpful. So anyways, okay, I'm gonna shut up. We'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.